Viewers, what you're about to hear is not just another rap beef update, is the destruction of an empire. Last night, in a moment so raw, so vicious, and so unexpected, Kendrick Lamar stood on live television and did the unthinkable. He obliterated Drake's legacy in real time. No rehearsed diss track. No subliminal Instagram post. Just Kendrick, a microphone, and a storm of words that left fans across the globe gasping in disbelief. People in the audience froze. Drake's own supporters were seen covering their mouths in shock. And within minutes, the internet exploded with hashtags like #DrakeIsFinished, #KendrickKilledHim, and the chilling #legacy destroyed. But here's the question everyone is asking. What exactly did Kendrick say? How did one live performance spiral into the most humiliating moment of Drake's career? And why are insiders claiming that this wasn't just a diss, was revenge years in the making? Stay locked in, because what happened on that stage is only the beginning. The drama you're about to uncover will rip open old wounds, expose new betrayals, and leave you questioning if Drake's reign as hip-hop's biggest star is officially over. And trust me, by the end of this story, you will never look at Drake or Kendrick the same way again. To understand the chaos that erupted on live TV, we need to rewind. Because this wasn't a random outburst. This was fate. This was a storm years in the making. Kendrick Lamar and Drake have always shared an uneasy rivalry. On the surface, they were collaborators. They appeared on each other's tracks, praised each other in interviews, and smiled on camera. But behind the scenes, insiders whispered of cold stares, power struggles, and an escalating tension that was just waiting to snap. Let's not forget 2011, when Kendrick dropped his explosive Control verse. The verse where he called out every rapper alive, including Drake, daring them to step up. The rap world went silent, then erupted. Drake brushed it off with his usual smug confidence. But fans noticed the cracks forming. Then came 2015. Rumors swirled that Kendrick felt Drake was stealing his style, the conscious lyricism, the introspective storytelling, but watering it down for pop radio. Kendrick, the poet from Compton, saw Drake as the actor from Degrassi playing rapper, dominating charts but hollow at the core. Drake, on the other hand, viewed Kendrick as too artsy to ever truly threaten his throne. He dismissed Kendrick in interviews with sly remarks, telling Rolling Stone that he didn't believe half the so-called conscious rappers. Fans knew who he was targeting. But here's the thing. This rivalry wasn't just lyrical. It was personal. Whispers began in the industry about Drake allegedly blocking Kendrick from high-profile collaborations. Insiders claimed Kendrick was excluded from certain festivals because Drake's team didn't want him overshadowing the headliner. And then came the ultimate betrayal, a leak story that Drake had quietly dismissed Kendrick from a joint tour opportunity, leaving Lamar furious but silent. Kendrick, the perfectionist, played the long game. He stayed quiet. He built his catalog. He let Drake enjoy his reign. But deep inside, he was waiting for the perfect moment, the stage where he could strike with precision and leave. Drake with no escape. And that's exactly why what happened on live TV last night felt so inevitable. Because Kendrick didn't just show up to perform. He showed up to bury Drake's entire legacy in front of millions. The audience didn't know it yet. Drake didn't see it coming. But Kendrick was about to transform a live performance into a funeral. And here's the detail that's sending shockwaves across the industry. People are saying Kendrick didn't just improvise this attack. He had been planning it for years, rehearsing the kill shot in silence, waiting for the cameras, the audience, the perfect storm. What Kendrick unleashed wasn't just a diss. It was a decade of resentment detonating in public. Fans are calling it the end of an era. Industry insiders are calling it career suicide for Drake. And those who were in the room, they're still shaken. saying it felt like watching history being rewritten in real time. But if you think the performance was shocking, just wait. Because hidden beneath the surface is a twist that nobody saw coming, one that involves leaked footage, secret text messages, and betrayals so deep. Even Drake's closest allies are reportedly turning their backs, and when that truth hits, you'll understand why this isn't just a beef. This is the downfall of a dynasty. The moment the lights dimmed, nobody expected what was about to unfold. Kendrick Lamar stepped onto that stage not as a performer, but as an executioner. The crowd roared, thinking they were about to hear another polished verse, another flawless performance. But within seconds, their cheers turned to stunned silence, because Kendrick didn't rap a rehearsed verse. He targeted Drake directly, with a cold stare into the camera. Kendrick opened with a line that felt like a bullet. "I don't compete with pop stars, I expose them." The audience gasped. Phones shot into the air. Within seconds, Twitter lit up with clips captioned, "Did he just go at Drake?" And then came the barrage. Kendrick launched into a fiery freestyle, naming Drake's alleged ghostwriters, mocking his reputation as the hitmaker who can't write his own history. He spat bars about industry manipulation, hinting that Drake's rise wasn't earned, but manufactured when the label writes your lyrics. Are you even alive on the mic? Fans in the front row shouted, "Oh," as if watching a car crash in slow motion. But Kendrick wasn't done. He brought receipts. On live TV, he pulled out what appeared to be a printed screenshot of leaked messages between Drake and a mysterious songwriter. He held it up for the camera, grinning. As the crowd erupted in chaos, the messages read, "Drake, need another hook ASAP. Make it sound personal, but don't go too deep. Writer, got you. Want me to mention your son again?" Drake, "Yeah, but keep it vague. I'll make it look real in interviews." The arena exploded. Gasps, boos, and screams filled the air. Social media detonated instantly with hashtags like #DrakeExposed and #KendrickHasReceipts.Drake, who was reportedly backstage, froze. An insider told TMZ that Drake's team was in full panic mode, with his manager yelling, "Cut the cameras." But the producers didn't. The moment was too big, too raw, too viral. And then Kendrick twisted the knife deeper. He stopped rapping, looked directly into the lens, and whispered, "This is what you call legacy. Bought verses and fake stories." The silence that followed was deafening. Even the announcers backstage didn't know how to react. But here's where it gets even darker. Just when fans thought Kendrick was finished, he revealed something that sent shockwaves far beyond hip-hop. He hinted at a secret scandal involving Drake's inner circle, one that had been buried for years. In his final verse, Kendrick dropped a chilling line, "You hid the truth about your brother, but I won't." The crowd erupted. What brother? What truth? Fans immediately flooded social media, demanding answers. Some speculated about a hidden family feud. Others whispered about a long-suppressed scandal involving Drake's half-siblings. And then the screen behind Kendrick lit up with a single phrase, "The real Drake will be revealed." That was it. The performance ended abruptly. No encore, no explanation. Kendrick walked off stage, leaving the entire arena in stunned silence. The aftermath of the first twist within minutes. Clips of the performance hit Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Fans screamed into their phones, some crying, others laughing hysterically, declaring Drake's career just ended on live TV. This isn't beef. This is murder. Kendrick just pulled the biggest live exposure in hip-hop history. But the real chaos began when the alleged leaked messages Kendrick held up started circulating online. Screenshots of the supposed texts spread like wildfire, with fans dissecting. The second Kendrick Lamar stepped onto that stage, something in the air shifted. People expected a flawless performance, a lyrical masterclass, maybe even a surprise guest. But nobody, not a single soul in that arena, expected him to turn live television into a battlefield. The lights dimmed, the beat dropped, and Kendrick didn't just rap, he detonated. With fire in his eyes and venom in his voice, he looked straight into the camera, straight into Drake's empire, and unleashed words that cut like knives. "I don't compete with pop stars' eyes expose them." The crowd gasped so loudly, it felt like the air had been punched out of the room. Fans in the front row clutched their faces. Others screamed, and within seconds, phones were raised high, capturing what would go down as the most destructive moment in hip-hop history. And then came the barrage. Kendrick launched into a freestyle so raw, it sounded less like a performance and more like an execution. Every line was a bullet, every word a dagger. He accused Drake of being nothing more than an industry puppet, a hitmaker who couldn't even write his own legacy. "When the label writes your lyrics, are you even alive on the mic?" He roared, sending the audience into chaos. People weren't just cheering, they were gasping, booing, and screaming like they had just witnessed a car crash in slow motion. And just when the tension reached its breaking point, Kendrick did the unthinkable. He pulled out a folded piece of paper, held it high above his head, and unfolded it for the cameras. The screens zoomed in. The world saw it. Printed screenshots, messages, and they weren't from just anyone. They were allegedly between Drake and one of his ghostwriters. The arena erupted. The crowd wasn't ready, the internet wasn't ready, the world wasn't ready. Need another hook ASAP. Make it sound personal, but don't go too deep. That was the first line. Got you. Want me to mention your son again? The writer replied, yeah, but keep it vague. I'll make it look real in interviews. Drake's own words, caught in writing, shown to millions on live TV. It was brutal. It was humiliating. It was the very thing Drake had spent years denying, now exposed in front of the entire planet. Fans in the crowd started booing so loud the audio nearly cut out. People in the back stood on chairs, filming the screen. Social media detonated instantly #DrakeExposed, #Kendrick killed him, and the haunting #Legacy destroyed trended within minutes. Backstage, chaos. An insider later told TMZ that Drake's team was in full panic mode, his manager screaming at producers to cut the feed. But they didn't. They couldn't. This moment was too big, too viral, too historic. The cameras stayed on Kendrick as he grinned, holding the paper like a trophy. Then he leaned into the mic and whispered a single sentence that would haunt Drake forever. This is what you call legacy. Bought verses and fake stories. The silence after that line was louder than any beat. It felt like the entire hip-hop world had stopped breathing at the same time. But Kendrick wasn't finished. No, he had saved the deadliest shot for last. As the crowd begged for more, as the internet screamed in real time, Kendrick ended his freestyle with a line so cryptic, so chilling, that it sent shockwaves across the industry. You hid the truth about your brother, but I won't. The crowd exploded. Gasps, screams, confusion. People shouted, "What brother?" Social media lit up with theories. Was Kendrick exposing a family secret? Was this about Drake's half-siblings? Was there a buried scandal that Drake had covered up for years? Nobody knew, but everyone wanted answers. And then, in the most terrifying move of the night, the giant screen behind Kendrick flickered to life. It displayed just 5 words in massive white letters. The real Drake will be revealed. The arena went dark. Kendrick dropped the mic and walked off stage without looking back. No explanation. No encore. Just silence. The aftermath was instant chaos. Fans uploaded clips so fast that within 15 minutes, Twitter and TikTok were flooded with millions of views. Reactions ranged from hysteria to heartbreak. Drake's career just ended on live TV. One fan screamed into their phone, tears running down their face. Another laughed manically, yelling, "This isn't beef. This is a funeral." Hashtags multiplied, threads dissected every line, and the leaked screenshots were shared across every platform. Some swore they were real, pointing to Drake's history of ghostwriting allegations. Others insisted Kendrick had staged them, calling it the ultimate smear tactic. But the damage was done. The seed of doubt had been planted, and once it spread, there was no undoing it. Drake's fanbase scrambled to defend him. They filled comment sections with desperate pleas. This is fake. Drake doesn't need ghostwriters. Others clung to his status. Even if it's true, he's still the biggest star in the world. But Kendrick's supporters were ruthless. "He's been lying for years," they tweeted. Kendrick just ended the biggest fraud in hip-hop. The divide was vicious, and the fight spread across every corner of the internet. Then came the real bomb. An anonymous industry insider leaked that Kendrick's final line about Drake's brother wasn't just a random jab. It was real. According to whispers, Drake has spent years covering up a hidden scandal involving a family member, one that, if exposed, could permanently ruin his carefully crafted image. The rumors were too dark, too explosive to ignore. And just as the speculation reached its peak, a second leak hit the internet. Word spread that major media outlets had already obtained undeniable footage that confirmed Kendrick's allegations. Not just about ghostwriters, but about the mysterious brother. The world froze. Fans begged for the footage to drop. Headlines exploded across news outlets. Kendrick Lamar destroys Drake's career in shocking live TV freestyle. Receipts, ghostwriters, and a secret brother. What did Kendrick just reveal? Celebrities chimed in too. Anonymous DMs circulated online, claiming certain rappers were done protecting Drake. Suddenly, this wasn't just about music. It was about family secrets, hidden betrayals, and the destruction of an empire. For the first time in over a decade, Drake didn't look untouchable. He looked vulnerable. He looked finished. But here's the cliffhanger. Sources close to Kendrick hinted that what we saw on stage wasn't even the full plan. The performance wasn't the kill shot, was just the beginning. They claim Kendrick has more receipts, more footage, more secrets ready to drop. The whispers are chilling. This wasn't a one-night moment. This is a carefully orchestrated takedown. And when the next piece falls, Drake won't just lose respect. He'll lose everything. The morning after Kendrick's live TV ambush, the world didn't wake up, erupted. Social media wasn't buzzing. It was on fire. Hashtags dominated every platform. The news cycle froze, and hip-hop fans couldn't talk about anything else. Clips of Kendrick's freestyle had already crossed 100 million views overnight, and fans were replaying every single second, dissecting every line, every pause, every smirk. And then the real chaos began. The so-called receipts Kendrick waved on stage weren't just screenshots anymore. They were now high-definition leaks spreading like wildfire, with entire threads analyzing timestamps, phone numbers, and watermarks. Twitter detectives were zooming in on pixels, arguing over authenticity, while fans swore they could hear Drake's voice notes hidden in the background of the leak. The line between fact and fiction didn't matter anymore, because in the court of public opinion, Kendrick had already won. But what came next wasn't just fan speculation. It was the industry itself turning. Within hours, a verified gossip account dropped a video claiming to have exclusive behind-the-scenes footage from a studio session footage allegedly showing Drake sitting in a recording booth while another man fed him lines. The video went viral instantly. People replayed it frame by frame, swearing the second man in the clip was a well-known ghostwriter. The audio was muffled, the footage grainy, but that didn't matter. The caption alone was enough, Kendrick warned us. Drake never wrote his own legacy. The video hit 50 million views in under 6 hours. Drake's camp scrambled to control the fire, but everything they released only fueled the flames. A publicist statement called the leaks fabricated nonsense. But within minutes, fans had already turned that phrase into a meme. TikTok flooded with edits of Kendrick smirking under captions like fabricated nonsense. But it hits harder than your career. The meme spread faster than the truth. And in the age of the internet, perception is power. And right now, every perception pointed to one thing. Drake was finished. Celebrities began choosing sides. Kanye West, who had his own bloody history with Drake, posted a cryptic Instagram story. The truth always comes out. Love to Kendrick. But then, the most shocking twist yet surfaced. An anonymous Twitter account dropped a 2-minute clip that claimed to be unreleased footage from a documentary project about Drake. The video allegedly showed Drake on the phone, angrily arguing with someone about money owed to a family member. In the middle of the shouting match, Drake allegedly said, "He's not even my brother. And I'll make sure no one ever finds out about this mess." The clip spread like wildfire. Fans screamed. Threads exploded with theories. Who was this? Mysterious brother Kendrick mentioned. Why was Drake so desperate to bury it? Journalists scrambled to piece together the puzzle, digging into Drake's family history. Old interviews resurfaced, articles from a decade ago were reposted, and fans uncovered cryptic comments from estranged relatives. It painted a picture darker than anyone expected: rumors of a hidden half-brother. Silenced by money, ignored by fame, erased from Drake's story. Suddenly, Kendrick's chilling line, "You hid the truth about your brother," wasn't just a lyric. It was an exposed wound. Fans split violently into camps. Some defended Drake, insisting the footage was fake, a deepfake created to fuel the narrative. But others didn't care if it was real or not. The damage was irreversible. On TikTok, fans filmed reaction videos of themselves burning Drake merchandise. On Instagram, edits of Kendrick standing over a gravestone labeled Drake's legacy flooded feeds. On Reddit, mega threads titled "Drake is Finished" gained hundreds of thousands of upvotes. The world wasn't just watching a feud, it was watching a collapse. And the most terrifying part? Kendrick himself went completely silent. After the performance, after dropping the bomb, he disappeared. No tweets, no interviews, no posts, nothing. His silence only amplified the noise, turning him into a phantom presence haunting Drake's every move. Fans called it the calm before the storm, convinced Kendrick was preparing his next strike. Insiders claimed Kendrick had a vault of unreleased footage, screenshots, and private recordings. One chilling post from a music journalist hinted what Kendrick dropped on live TV wasn't even 10% of what he has. That single sentence sent fans spiraling into madness. If what they had seen was just the beginning, what was left in the shadows? Meanwhile, the industry turned cold. Streaming services quietly began pushing Kendrick songs to the front of playlists, while Drake's latest releases mysteriously vanished from trending sections. Radio DJs mocked him live on air, saying, "Y'all still want ghostwritten hits, or you ready for the realest rapper alive?" Sponsors reportedly began reviewing contracts, and insiders whispered that major brands tied to Drake were reconsidering partnerships. His empire wasn't just wobbling, it was crumbling, piece by piece, deal by deal. And then came the biggest leak yet, the one that made even Drake's loyalists question everything. A private group chat between industry executives was allegedly hacked and posted online. In it, executives discussed Drake's brother's scandal in hushed tones. One message read, "We can't let this get out. It'll destroy everything we've built around him." Another chilling line, "Kendrick has the files. If he drops them, we're done." The leak hit harder than any diss track. This wasn't just fans talking. This was the machine behind Drake admitting fear by nightfall. Fans weren't asking if Drake's legacy was over. They were asking how much longer before Kendrick dropped the final nail in the coffin. Every corner of the internet pulsed with anticipation. Every fan begged for the next leak, the next video, the next reveal. And in the shadows, rumors swirled that Kendrick's team was preparing something catastrophic, something so explosive. It wouldn't just end Drake's career, would erase it from history. The question now wasn't if Drake would fall, it was how fast and how violently. The world didn't calm down. The next day spiraled deeper. Every corner of the internet was split in two, and the noise was deafening. On Twitter, timelines weren't just talking about Kendrick and Drake, they were consumed by it, as if nothing else in the world mattered. Thousands of threads bloomed like wildfire, each one more dramatic than the last. Fans were writing essays, pulling up old interviews, rewinding 10-year-old award show clips to find hidden tension in the way Kendrick and Drake once looked at each other. It wasn't just hip-hop gossip anymore, it was a full-blown cultural obsession. TikTok drowned in edits. Some were brutal compilations. Kendrick on stage, holding the ghostwriter texts, followed by slow-motion clips of Drake wiping his face during past performances. Sad violin music played over the footage with captions like the end of an era. Others were comedic, creators pretending to be Drake's PR team, frantically trying to spin headlines while the walls burned around them. The humor only made the humiliation sting harder, and the fans, they were waging war. Drake supporters called Kendrick a snake, accusing him of fabricating lies for clout. They argued that Drake had given Kendrick his first major spotlight years ago, and this was how he repaid him. Filled Instagram comments with defenses like, "Kendrick is jealous. Drake feeds the world with hits." But Kendrick's army fired back twice as hard. "Drake feeds the world lies," they replied. "Kendrick feeds the world truth." The division was so intense that even celebrities couldn't avoid choosing sides. Rihanna, who had once been romantically linked to Drake, liked a post about Kendrick's performance, just a single heart on Instagram, but it detonated across the internet. Fans interpreted it as confirmation that she had secretly sided with Kendrick, and suddenly, thousands of posts screamed, "If Rihanna's with Kendrick, Drake is done." J. Cole, usually the peacemaker of hip-hop, broke his silence with a cryptic tweet, "Legends don't hide behind masks." That was all it took. Millions believed he had quietly sided with Kendrick too. News outlets ran with it, turning every cryptic emoji into breaking news. CNN aired a segment about the implosion of Drake's legacy, while Rolling Stone published a cover story titled, "Is Kendrick Lamar the new king of hip-hop?" TMZ reported that Drake had gone radio silent, canceling interviews, postponing appearances, and refusing to address the scandal directly. The silence only fueled the narrative that he had no defense left. Then came the fans in real life. Outside of OVO stores, protesters gathered. Actual protesters holding signs that read, "We want the truth and no more ghosts." Videos of fans stomping on Drake's merchandise spread across TikTok. Concertgoers began chanting, "Kendrick," during Drake's own shows, forcing him to cut sets short. In Toronto, his own hometown, graffiti appeared overnight. The real Drake, spray-painted in blood-red letters on a wall near one of his favorite clubs. And as all of this was unfolding, the industry itself was starting to fracture. Spotify playlists quietly shifted, pushing Kendrick's Cthulhu while dropping Drake's songs from their prime slots. An inside leak claimed that one of Drake's biggest endorsement deals was on pause until further clarity. Another insider whispered to Variety that some of Drake's longtime collaborators were distancing themselves for safety. Nobody wanted to go down with a sinking ship, and for the first time in his career, Drake's ship looked like it was taking on water fast. The most brutal reaction, however, came from the fans who had worshipped him for over a decade. Heartbroken posts appeared everywhere. "I defended Drake for years against Theg host writing stuff, but Kendrick just exposed him. I feel betrayed." One viral TikTok showed a girl sobbing into the camera. "I grew up on Drake's music, and now it feels like a lie." These weren't just haters anymore. These were loyalists, cracking under the weight of the revelations. And in the middle of all this hysteria, Kendrick said nothing. Not a single post, not a single comment. His silence turned him into a phantom, a looming shadow over Drake's every move. Fans called it terrifying. Industry insiders called it calculated genius. Because when one voice goes silent, the noise of the world grows louder, and right now, the noise was unbearable. But just when the storm seemed like it had reached its peak, another crack split the sky wide open. Late-night television shows began airing segments mocking Drake. Comedians roasted him mercilessly. SNL teased an upcoming skit where an actor would play Drake, frantically hiring host writers backstage. The culture wasn't just laughing at him, was burying him alive. One joke at a time, and then came the cruelest blow of all. A trending phrase on TikTok and Twitter. That became a rallying cry for Kendrick's supporters. 3 simple words: Drake is over. Millions of posts, millions of likes, millions of voices echoing the same message. It wasn't just a diss anymore, it was a verdict. Still, one chilling detail kept fans hooked. Those mysterious words Kendrick had left on the giant screen: "The real Drake will be revealed." Every post,